The stagecoach rattled to a stop in a cloud of dust and silence. Nora Hale stepped down, her worn traveling dress gray with road grime, her hands clutching a folded letter like it was the last solid thing in the world. The wind bit cold across the Montana plains, carrying the scent of coming snow and judgment. The town of Bitter Creek didn't move, didn't speak, just watched. She scanned the faces hard men, tired women, children peeking from behind skirts. Then her eyes lifted to the hill, to the weathered cabin that stood alone against the gray sky. A man stood in the doorway, tall, broad-shouldered, still as stone. Two children clung to his legs, silent and thin as winter saplings. Nora's heart hammered, but her feet moved. One step, then another. The crowd followed at a distance, a slow procession of whispers and stares. She stopped 3 feet from him. His face was carved from grief. Hard lines, hollow eyes, a mouth that had forgotten how to speak. He didn't look at her, didn't blink. Nora swallowed. Then she dropped to one knee in the dirt. "Please marry me." The words hung in the cold air. The man's jaw tightened. The children stared, wide-eyed and frozen. Behind her, someone gasped. Another muttered low, "That woman's got more nerve than sense." A voice said. Nora didn't turn. She kept her eyes on the man Wyatt Cole. The letter had said, widower, father, desperate, just like her. Wyatt turned his back, walked inside. The door didn't close. It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no. The crowd murmured, disappointed there'd be no scene. They drifted away like smoke, leaving her kneeling in the dirt with two children who hadn't moved. The little girl, no more than 5, reached out. Her fingers brushed Nora's hand. Warm, real, alive. Nora stood slowly, brushed the dust from her skirt, and looked down at the girl. "What's your name?" "Hope," the child whispered. "That's a good name." Nora smiled, though her throat ached. "A strong name." The boy, older by a few years, watched her with dark, suspicious eyes. "You're going to leave like the others." "What others?" "The women who came before." They all left. Nora knelt again, this time to meet his gaze. "I didn't come here to leave." The boy said nothing, but he didn't run. Nora took a breath, straightened, and stepped across the threshold. Inside, the cabin was a tomb. Dust coated the table. The stove sat cold and dead. A rocking chair in the corner held a folded quilt, untouched. Toys lay scattered near the hearth, small wooden animals. A rag doll with button eyes. Wyatt stood with his back to her, hands braced on the table, shoulders tense. "You don't know what you're asking for," he said. His voice was rough, like rusted iron dragged across stone. Nora looked at the children, thin, silent, wearing clothes too small. She looked at the empty cupboards, the cold stove, the dust. "I know enough." Wyatt didn't turn. "They'll eat you alive out here. You'd be better off leaving." "They need a mother." His shoulders jerked. "They needed one before." Didn't help. Nora's chest tightened, but she didn't flinch. "Then we start now." She crossed to the stove, struck a match, and held it to the kindling inside. The flame caught. Slow at first, then bright. The first heat in months. Wyatt finally turned. His eyes were storm dark, full of something broken and buried. "You'll work. You'll sleep in the loft. You don't ask about what came before. No questions. No promises. Just survival." Agreed. He studied her, looking for weakness, looking for lies. She didn't blink. "We marry at dawn," he said quietly. "In front of the preacher, that's all?" "That's enough." Hope tugged on Nora's skirt. Are you staying? Nora knelt, brushed a strand of hair from the girl's face. I'm staying for the first time in 2 years. The cabin wasn't silent. Dawn came cold and gray, the sky heavy with unshed snow. Nora stood outside the small church, her only dress brushed clean, her hair pulled back in a simple braid. No flowers, no veil, just a woman and a choice. Wyatt waited by the door, hat in hand, face unreadable. The children stood beside him, scrubbed and quiet. The preacher, a thin man with kind eyes and worn hands, looked between them. You sure about this? Wyatt? No. Wyatt's voice was flat. But I'm doing it anyway. The preacher nodded slowly. And you, Miss Nora Hale. She lifted her chin. And yes, I'm sure, well, inside. The church was empty except for the preacher's wife, who sat in the front pew clutching a handkerchief. No guests. No witnesses beyond the necessary. The vows were simple, short, functional. Do you, Wyatt Cole, take this woman as your lawful wife? I do. Do you, Nora Hale, take this man as your lawful husband? I do. No ring, no kiss. Just 2 signatures on paper and the scratch of a pen. Outside. The town watched from a distance. The blacksmith leaned against a post, arms crossed. His wife whispered behind her hand. A group of men muttered low, shaking their heads. Give it a month, one said. She'll run, or he'll bury her next to the first one. Nora heard. Wyatt heard. Neither looked back. They walked up the hill in silence, the children trailing behind. Inside the cabin, Nora set to work. She swept the floors, scrubbed the table, opened the windows despite the cold, letting fresh air chase out the ghosts. Wyatt stood in the doorway, watching. You don't have to do this, he said quietly. Yes, I do. Why? She paused, broom in hand. Because I need a home, and you need help. That's reason enough. He turned away. A man's word is his bond, even when the bond's made of spit and sorrow. That's what my father used to say. Sounds like a wise man. He was wrong about most things. Nora didn't answer. She just kept sweeping. That night, she cooked the first real meal the cabin had seen in months. Beans, cornbread, coffee. She set 4 plates on the table. Wyatt stared at the 4th plate. Why 4? Because there's 4 of us. There's 3. Nora met his eyes. There's 4. Sit down. He didn't argue. He sat. The children ate like they were afraid the food would vanish. Hope smiled for the first time, crumbs on her cheek. Tommy silent. Watchful glanced at his father, then at Nora. Thank you, the boy said quietly. Nora's throat tightened. You're welcome. After the children went to bed, Wyatt stood by the stove, staring into the flames. You got questions? He said. I can see them. I do. I told you. No questions. Nora folded her hands. Then I'll just say this. Whatever happened before, it's done. We start from here. Wyatt's jaw worked. You don't know what you're saying. Maybe not, but I'm saying it anyway. He looked at her, then really looked. Out here. You take your chances or you take the dirt. You sure you picked the right one? I'm still standing, aren't I, for the first time? Something almost like a smile flickered across his face. Almost. We'll see. The first week passed in a rhythm of work and silence. Nora woke before dawn, lit the stove, made coffee. Wyatt chopped wood. The children followed her like shadows, afraid to speak, afraid to hope. Every morning, Wyatt walked to the oak tree on the hill. He stood there for 10 minutes, hat in hand, lips moving in silent words. Nora watched from the window. On the 7th day, she asked the preacher's wife, what happened to his first wife? The woman's face softened with pity. Anna, sweet girl. Too delicate for this land, but she loved him fierce, got with child, and it went bad. She bled for 2 days before she passed. Baby died with her. Nora's chest ached. When, 2 winters ago, Wyatt blamed himself. Town didn't help, said he should have sent her back east when she took sick. He heard every word, and he believed them. Nora looked out at the hill, at the man standing alone in the cold. Thank you, she said quietly. That afternoon, she baked bread, real bread, with the last of the flour. She made stew from dried beans and salted pork. She set the table 4 plates, 4 cups. When Wyatt came inside, he stopped. The smell of fresh bread filled the cabin. The fire crackled. The children sat at the table, eyes bright. What's this? He asked. Supper. I can see that. Nora wiped her hands on her apron. Then sit down and eat. You're still alive. Wyatt Cole. That means you've got work to do. His face hardened. You don't know. I know you're breathing. I know those children need you. And I know the land don't care about your tears. Only your sweat. The words hung between them. Wyatt's hands clenched. Then, slowly, he pulled out a chair and sat. Hope climbed into the chair beside him. Tommy took the other side. Nora served the bread. The stew. She poured coffee. They ate in silence. But it wasn't the cold silence of before. It was something else. Something quieter, gentler. After supper, Hope crawled into Nora's lap. Small and warm. Will you stay? Nora's throat closed. She stroked the girl's hair. Yes, baby, I'll stay. Hope sighed, content, and fell asleep against her chest. Across the room, Wyatt watched. His eyes were dark, full of something he couldn't name. For the first time in 2 years, he didn't look away. The first snow came in mid-November, soft and silent. Nora woke in the loft to the sound of howling. She bolted upright, heart pounding. Below, the children stirred. Wyatt was already moving, pulling on his boots. Another howl closer this time, then another. Wolves. Nora climbed down the ladder, grabbed the rifle by the door. Wyatt glanced at her, surprised. You know how to use that? My father taught me before I could read. Said a woman who can't protect herself ain't free. Wyatt's mouth twitched, almost a smile. Smart man. They moved together, silent and synchronized. Outside. The night was silver bright with moonlight and snow. The henhouse rattled. Yellow eyes gleamed in the dark. Wyatt raised his shotgun. Nora lifted the rifle. On 3, he said. 1, 2, 3. They fired. The shots cracked across the valley. The wolves scattered, melting into the trees. They stood side by side, breath misting, hearts pounding. You got sand, Wyatt said quietly. More than most men I know. Nora glanced at him. Courage ain't the absence of fear. It's knowing the wolves are coming and standing anyway. He looked at her. Really looked. Where'd you learn that life? They walked back inside. The children were awake, wide-eyed. Are the wolves gone? Hope whispered. Nora knelt, pulled the girl into her arms. Yes, baby. They're gone. Will they come back? Nora hesitated. Then, not while we're here. Hope buried her face in Nora's shoulder. Mama, she whispered. The word stopped everything. Nora's breath caught. Wyatt froze, his eyes locking on hers. She swallowed hard. It's all right, sweet girl. Mama's here. Hope sighed, relaxed, and closed her eyes. Tommy watched from the corner, silent, but his shoulders eased. That night, after the children slept, Wyatt sat by the fire. Nora joined him, wrapping a shawl around her shoulders. "She called you Mama," he said. "I heard." "You don't have to. I want to." He studied her. "Why? Because she needs one. And I need to be needed." Wyatt's jaw worked. "You're braver than I'll ever be." "No. I'm just stubborn. This time." He did smile, small, brief, but real. Outside. The wolves howled again, distant now, retreating. Inside, the fire burned warm. The days grew shorter, the nights longer. Snow fell in steady curtains, blanketing the valley in white. Inside the cabin, life found a rhythm. Nora taught the children to read by firelight, tracing letters in flour on the table. Tommy learned quickly, hungry for knowledge. Hope struggled, but she laughed when she finally spelled her own name. Wyatt watched from the shadows, whittling a wooden horse for Hope, his hands steady and sure. One evening, Nora found him carving by the window, the horse nearly finished. "She'll love it," Nora said. Wyatt didn't look up. "Anna used to collect them, little wooden animals. I'd carve one for every birthday." Nora sat beside him. "Tell me about her." He stopped carving. "Thought we agreed. No questions." "That was before." "Before what?" "Before you smiled." Wyatt's mouth quirked. Then it fell. "She was good. Too good for this place. Too good for me." "She loved you." "She died because of me." Nora reached out, gently touched his hand. "She died giving life. That's not shame. That's sacrifice." Wyatt's breath hitched. "The town said, the town's wrong." He looked at her, eyes raw. "How do you know, Mom? Because I'm here, and I see you. And you're not a man who kills. You're a man who builds." His hand turned, gripping hers, warm, real. "Surviving isn't the same as living. Wyatt, when do you start living again?" His voice cracked. "Maybe. Now." They sat in silence, hands clasped, the fire crackling between them. Hope stirred in her sleep, murmuring. Tommy rolled over, peaceful. "They're good kids," Nora whispered. "They are." "You did that." "Not the town. You." Wyatt's throat worked. "Winter tests the heart. Spring rewards the faithful. That's what Anna used to say." She was right. The next morning, Nora walked to town for supplies. The general store was quiet, cold. The merchant barely looked at her. "What do you need, Fi?" "Flour, sugar, coffee." He didn't move. "Wyatt Cole's money ain't good here." Nora's spine stiffened. "That's not your decision to make." "It is in my store." The door opened. Warren Kent, the blacksmith, stepped inside, tall and broad, his face hard as iron. "She's his wife," Warren said quietly. "You'll serve her, or I'll take my business elsewhere. And so will every man who respects a vow." The merchant paled. "I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did. Now sell her what she needs." The merchant obeyed, hands shaking. Outside. Nora turned to Warren. "Thank you." He tipped his hat. "A man stands by his own, or he ain't a man at all. Tell Wyatt I said so." Nora nodded, but her heart sank. Wyatt hadn't been there. He hadn't stood for her. Warren had. Nora walked home in silence, the supplies heavy in her arms. Wyatt was chopping wood when she arrived. He looked up, saw her face, and stopped. "What happened?" She set the supplies down. "Why didn't you come with me?" "You didn't ask." "I shouldn't have to." Wyatt's jaw tightened. "What happened?" "The merchant refused to serve me, said your money wasn't good. Warren Kent stood up for me." "Where were you?" Wyatt flinched. I was here. Hiding. His face darkened. I wasn't hiding. Then what do you call it? He turned away, gripping the axe. Everything they say is true. Nora, I'm cursed. I ruin what I touch. You think I'm weak? You think I need saving? Her voice shook. I chose you. Wyatt. But you have to choose us back. He didn't answer. Nora's chest ached. I didn't cross 1,000 miles to marry a ghost. Maybe that's all I am. She stared at him. Then she turned and walked inside. That night, she set 3 plates at the table. Wyatt noticed. He said nothing. The children ate in silence, eyes darting between them. After they went to bed, Nora climbed to the loft without a word. Wyatt sat alone by the fire, staring into the flames. The next day, Warren Kent came to the cabin. Town's talking, he said. They want to take your land, claim you abandoned it when Anna died. Wyatt's face went pale. On what grounds? That you're not fit to hold it, that you're broken. They're right. Warren's eyes narrowed. You believe that? It doesn't matter what I believe. It does to her. Warren nodded toward the cabin. That woman fought through town gossip for you. She's raising your kids. She's building a home, and you're letting her do it alone. Wyatt's hands clenched. I don't know how to be what she needs. Then learn, or lose everything. Again. Warren left. That night, the storm hit. The wind screamed, snow fell in blinding sheets. The cabin shook. Tommy woke first, burning with fever, his skin hot and dry. Hope cried. Nora pressed a hand to his forehead and knew he needed medicine. She grabbed her coat, scarf, boots. Wyatt caught her arm. You can't go out in this. He'll die if I don't. You'll die if you do. She pulled free. Then I die trying. She was gone before he could stop her. Wyatt stood frozen, her note in his hand, gone for medicine. Don't wait up. Panic flooded him cold, sharp, paralyzing. Not again. He saddled his horse, rode into the storm, shouting her name into the wind. The world was white, endless, empty. Then he saw her, 50 yards from the cabin door, collapsed in the snow, clutching the medicine bottle. Nora. He dismounted, fell to his knees, pulled her into his arms. Her lips were blue, her eyes closed. No. No, 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 don't you leave me, don't you dare. He carried her inside, wrapped her in blankets, held her by the fire. Please, he whispered. Please. Her eyes fluttered open. Tommy, she whispered. He's here. You got the medicine. She exhaled. Weak. Good. You almost died. But I didn't. You could have. She looked at him, eyes fierce despite her exhaustion. I'm not leaving. Wyatt. But you have to stop leaving yourself. His breath hitched. I'm afraid. I'm so afraid. Fear's honest. Hiding ain't. Choose. He broke then, sobbing, shaking, holding her like she was the only solid thing in the world. I choose you. He choked out. I choose them. I choose this. She reached up, touched his face. Then prove it. The storm raged outside. Inside, something shifted. The next morning, the fever broke. Tommy slept, peaceful. Wyatt set 4 plates on the table. This time, he served her first. Spring came slow, melting the snow inch by inch. The town called a meeting land deeds and claims to be settled. Wyatt dressed carefully. Nora stood beside him, calm and steady. The children walked between them, holding hands. The meeting hall was packed. Faces turned as they entered. Warren Kent stood at the front, arms crossed. Wyatt Cole's land is contested. He abandoned it when his wife died. It should be redistributed. The murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Wyatt stepped forward. I'm here. My family's here. This land is ours, Warren sneered. A bought woman and borrowed kids don't make a family. Nora's hand tightened on Wyatt's arm. Wyatt's voice rose, clear and strong. She fought through a blizzard to save my son. She stood when I fell. She chose us when no one else would. If you want to judge her, you judge me first. The room went silent. And if you take this land, Wyatt continued, his voice steady, you'll have to go through all of us. The preacher stood. I stand with Wyatt. The blacksmith's wife rose. So do I. One by one. The good people stood. Warren Kent's face darkened. But he was outnumbered. The council ruled in Wyatt's favor. Outside, the sun broke through the clouds. Wyatt took Nora's hand. Thank you. For what? For not giving up on me. She smiled. Love ain't a gift. It's a fight. And you fought. Hope tugged on his sleeve. Papa, can we go home now? Wyatt knelt, pulled her close. Yes, baby, we're going home. Late spring bloomed across the valley. Nora planted wildflowers by the grave under the oak tree. Wyatt knelt beside her, pressing seeds into the earth. She'd want them here, Nora said softly. Wyatt nodded. Thank you for not making me forget her. I would never. They worked in silence, side by side, back at the cabin. The fence was mended, the garden planted. The children's laughter rang across the yard. That evening, Wyatt carved Nora's name into the doorframe beside his. You're home, he said. Forever. She touched the letters, tracing them with her fingers. Forever's a long time. Good. They sat at the table, 4 plates, 4 people. No ghosts. Wyatt reached across, took her hand. You're my wife, and I'm proud of it. Nora smiled, eyes bright. Took you long enough, Wyatt Cole. Some lessons take a lifetime, others take a blizzard. Hope climbed into Nora's lap. Tommy leaned against his father. The door stood open. Warm light spilled into the spring night. Outside, the land stretched wide and green. Inside, a family healed. The best things in life come the hard way, Wyatt said quietly, and they stay that way earned. Nora kissed his cheek. Then we earned this. We did. The fire crackled. The children dozed. The stars came out, and for the first time in years, Wyatt Cole felt peace out here. You earn your place. She earned hers the hard way through storm, through shame, through love that wouldn't quit. And so did he. Together, they built more than a home. They built a second chance. And that's a rare and precious thing.